Kembali lagi dengan Roswita. So, kali ini saya berada di Amerika, tempat kediaman the founder of Nihiwatu, salah satu hotel terbaik di dunia, dan the founder of Sumba Foundation, yaitu Bapak Claude Graves, the legend of Sumba. Jadi siapa sih yang tidak kenal Bapak Claude di sini, teman-teman? So, kita mau tanya-tanya dulu seperti apa perjuangan beliau mulai dari tahun 80-an dulu membangun Nihiwatu dan juga membangun Sumba Foundation. Yuk ikuti saya, kita tanya-tanya teman-teman. Selamat pagi teman-teman, kembali lagi bersama saya dengan Roswita di sini. Dan kali ini finally setelah 2 tahun ini masih kelihatan, after 2 years I wrote notes. Jadi saya tulis nota pertanyaan bahwa suatu saat nanti saya akan menginterview idola saya, yes, biggest support system of me. Selamat pagi Bapak Claude.
Selamat pagi.
Apa kabar Bapak?
Baik-baik. Baik-baik, Rose.
Baik. Senang lagi bertemu dengan Bapak.
Saya selalu
Sehat?
senang, ya.
Sehat Bapak?
Sehat, ya.
Iya. Oh my
Saya
God.
lockdown di sini, ya.
Lockdown di sini,
Ini
tapi
yang pertama kali saya bicara dengan orang, ya, karena saya jaga kesehatan saya.
ya, oh my
Saya-
God. Terima kasih Bapak. Ya, Bapak.
Ah,
Oh. Okay. Many people in Sumba and also me and my family, they heard your names. Even they never met you before, but your name is legend here. Yeah. Well, before I ask you more about your story, please tell us a little bit about your background.
my background was my business, my construction background was working on big projects, Saudi Arabia and Texas, Indonesia. I came to Indonesia in 1973 to work on a project for Pertamina. So my background was not really hotel background, it was more in construction. Before I worked for those companies, then I had a project in Africa. It was a big disco. And then I ended up here in Indonesia. I lived in Bali for 7 years, went back to Africa, then came back to Indonesia with Petra
Yeah.
to build a resort.
Yeah.
We were actually looking around the world for a location, to build what became Nihiwatu.
Wow.
So my background is more construction and development. So on the hotel side, which I did this for 25 years
Yes,
here,
yeah.
was more, I had no schooling, no formal hotel schooling, but I know, both Petra and I knew what kind of hotel we would like to go to,
Okay.
but at the time in the 1980s, there was
Yeah.
no hotel
Yeah.
like that. So
Yeah.
we decided, hey, okay,
Yeah.
let's build our own hotel.
Oh.
And we were on a round the world trip looking for a location, had to have, most important was a solid culture, not influenced by Western society yet. Remote and beautiful, of course. The beach had to be good. We were looking for maybe somewhere where you could have land activities and ocean activities. And of course, Nihiwatu became perfect for that.
Wow.
So, in a nutshell, very quickly, that was my background.
But how did you find Sumba for the first time, and then you finally found it, Nihiwatu?
We came, this was the only place in Indonesia
Yeah.
we were going to look for
Wow.
because there was no tourism, so Bali was out. Because it was Christian island,
Yeah.
that was also important, but most importantly because there was a strong culture.
strong culture.
At the
Yeah.
time in 1987,
Mhm.
when we were trying to get information on the different locations, so we were
Mhm.
going to go to Papua,
Wow.
northern Philippines. From here, we were going to go to Madagascar and Mozambique.
Mhm.
And then very south and north Brazil, there's some archipelagos there
Mhm.
where strong tribal culture.
Mhm.
Also, so I couldn't get any information. All the other places there was info on the
Mhm.
internet, but on
Mhm.
Sumba there was no information.
Okay.
So for me, that made me very curious.
Okay.
Okay, if there's no information on
Wow.
in encyclopedias and no information on the web,
Mhm.
must be something special,
Wow.
right? So we came
That's
here.
why you choose Sumba.
Yeah, so we came here.
Mhm.
And Petra and I, we started at Wanakaka, and we camping, hiking all the way up
Mhm.
past Cody.
Mhm.
And all of the other beaches were too small, too big, not nice. Sand quality not good,
Mhm.
but Nihiwatu was perfect.
Wow.
You know, so we went back home,
Yeah.
packed up our house,
Mhm.
put everything in storage,
Mhm.
came back here and lived on the beach over here for many years. Yeah. And I met your grandfather
Yes, yeah.
and
Papa.
your whole family then.
Yeah, yeah. And I
because
was a little.
You were a
at the
little
time.
girl.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we were going kampung ke kampung, you know, talking with the senior people there
Mhm.
about our vision.
Mhm.
Nobody understood what we were talking
So
about.
what you do at the time? What you did? I mean, it's difficult for you to speak with the people, right? In Bahasa.
I had Bahasa. I could
Oh,
speak. Yeah, I could
okay.
already speak
Mhm.
because
Already,
I
you
was
know.
already in
Oh my
Indonesia
God.
for some
And
time.
sorry, how old were you at the
When I
time?
came here, I was 39 years old.
39 years old. Okay.
So it was my third career.
Third career.
Yeah.
Wow.
My career before that was
Mhm.
a big disco,
Mhm.
nightclub business,
Mhm.
disco restaurant
Mhm.
in Kenya.
Mhm.
And before that was construction in
Wow.
Saudi Arabia, in
Mm.
Indonesia, and West Java, working there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lot of experience here, Bapak ya.
Yeah.
And so, Bapak, 75 now,
We
right?
came in 1988, so
1988,
now it's,
yeah,
what is
20,
that, 20,
28,
30,
20,
32
30,
years.
30 years.
30, yeah.
Okay. And you have two children.
Yes,
Both of them were born here?
anak Sumba, yeah.
Oh! Zina and Brandon.
Yes,
Oh, anak Sumba.
yeah.
And then how what is that oddest experience when the first time they came and you see around, and the first time the Sumbanese people here met the bule with
Well,
the
many
children.
people,
Mhm.
when we would go to some villages, the
Uh-huh.
children would cry and they'd run away.
Mm. Oh,
Even
yeah, I got
you
away.
know, scared.
Me too.
Yeah, takut, yeah.
Takut, yeah.
Yeah. So, and my Indonesian was
Mhm.
not great, but it was okay. But many of the people we were talking to
Mhm.
couldn't even speak Bahasa Indonesia.
Yeah, sure.
So, you know, it was a little bit difficult. And now when I still talk with some of the old guys that are not dead yet,
Mhm.
you know, they go like, man, when you first came, when you and Petra came,
Uh-huh.
we thought you were orang gila.
Orang gila.
You know, you're down on the beach,
Yeah.
you wanted to buy the land. We were laughing because the land you wanted to buy,
Yeah.
we thought it was terrible land, you
Yeah,
know, can't
yeah.
farm it and everything.
Yeah.
And the vision,
I
we
can
tried to
imagine that.
explain to them, you know, look,
Uh-huh.
we're going to do something good.
Mhm.
It'll create employment for your children, for your grandchildren,
Yeah.
and we're going to build a hotel.
Mhm.
You know, well, back then there was no road to Waikabubak.
Yeah, there's
Nobody
no
was
road.
going to, everybody was just in the kampung in their small
Yeah.
area around there. There was still banyak perang, you know, a lot of
Mhm.
wars
Yeah,
going
that-
on.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
people were very stuck in their local area.
Yeah.
So for I look now and I'd
Yeah.
go like, yeah, when we were talking about
I think
hotels and our big vision, it just went over everybody's head.
Yeah,
They were just
yeah.
going like, hey, ini orang gila, you know. What's wrong with these
Orang
guys?
gila. This moment and maybe hard experience in Sumba because it's not easy at the time, you know, with the with the limited of sources to build this Nihiwatu. Tell us about.
I think
little
the
bit about-
worst was,
Mhm.
I mean, the logistics of everything. At the time when we were first coming here for the first 6 years,
Yeah.
you had to fly from Bali to Lombok, change planes,
Change plane.
to Bima,
Yeah.
change plane again to Wangapu, yeah,
Yeah,
spend the
Waingapu
night
only
do
Waingapu.
all day to get to 12 hours to
Mhm.
Waikabubak, spend the night, and 6 hours to here. So it's
6.
2.5 days.
Wow.
The hardest thing I think really was malaria.
Malaria.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's very-
Petra and I, there was no problem. We were getting bit by nyamuk when we were sleeping over there in our little
Mhm.
shit kampong. It was terrible. When I look
Yeah.
at the photos now, I
Mhm,
go
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oof.
They're
You know,
really
how
good.
could Petra live like this? But we lived like that.
Yeah,
We had no
yeah.
water, we had no
No water.
electricity, no
Mhm.
refrigeration.
So,
But I had a little boat and
Mhm.
fishing rods, so we had
Mhm.
food.
mhm.
But when we started construction, which was around 1992,
Mhm.
uh, people started coming in from the villages.
Yeah, yeah.
The mosquitoes here got
Yeah,
infected, and we
yeah.
started getting malaria.
Yeah.
So I stopped counting it. I think I've had 34, maybe 36 times I've had malaria.
Mhm.
Cerebral malaria, a lot. I ended up in a coma in a hospital in Singapore. When I
Yeah.
woke up, I didn't even know where I was.
Mhm.
So it was really bad.
Yeah. And
You
since
know, and we
then,
nearly died a few
Mhm.
times.
Mhm.
Other than that, you know, we had problems between the Watu Kureri
Yeah.
and the Rua
Mhm.
because we didn't understand that
Yeah,
th-
yeah.
this
Yeah.
was Orang Prang, the
Okay.
history. So I would take, 3, 4 people would come from Watu Kureri to help, some people from Rua at the
Mhm.
time, and we put them together and boom, 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 they're fighting, and I'm going like,
What's
these
going
people are a
on?
little bit
Yeah.
crazy, what's
Yeah,
going on.
yeah.
And then your grandfather, actually, Jay Wugara, was the
Yeah.
one that came down
Mhm.
from the Watu Kureri clan and said,
yeah.
hey, you can't have my people working with those people
Mhm.
because we've been at war for
Mhm.
hundreds of years.
Mhm.
And I go, oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
we started separating them.
Mhm.
So like Dato,
Dato, yeah.
he was
yeah.
a young boy when he came, and so
Young
he had to work over there.
Mhm.
And the Lemboy of the Watu Kureri
Watu
guys
Kureri.
over here, always
Mhm.
100 meters
100 meters
distance
from here.
between the
Distance.
two. And if then the next day maybe 50 people from Watu Kureri and 70 people from Rua,
Mhm.
I have to send 20 home. So we always had parity, 50 here, 50 there. No more, no
No.
less,
Okay.
because it was going to make problems.
Okay.
So those years were very, very interesting
Mhm.
because I was learning about the culture.
The culture.
Not just the culture, but how the people think
Yeah,
and
yeah.
how
About the mindset.
their
yeah.
mindset and
Mhm.
how past history and the
Yeah.
generations before,
Yeah,
how important that is,
yeah.
and how important the future generations are to them. So
That's right.
I started learning, watching how the elders talk to each other
Mhm.
in the villages, and
Mhm.
sometimes, they get very loud,
Mhm.
and they don't talk friendly like
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
now.
Yeah,
If something's wrong,
Something's wrong.
they get
They
loud
fight.
and they start yelling and stuff. So I
Okay.
started doing the same,
Mhm.
and everybody's going like, whoa, they get shocked because I'm not talking nice anymore. But this is the only way I
Mhm.
learned how to deal with the situation here, was like watching how everybody was dealing with each other in the kampungs.
Mhm.
So it was very, very interesting times. And Petra and I, the best
Mhm.
experience, the best time in the 32 years we were here was when we were just the two people on our own,
Mhm.
living over on the hill over there on the beach,
Yeah.
without the water, without the luxuries of electricity
Yeah.
and food issues. If we
Mhm.
didn't catch fish, we'd go
Mhm.
hungry. It was really a special time.
Aw.
We weren't sick because we didn't start building construction.
Mhm.
We didn't want to start construction without everybody setuju.
Mhm.
So we had to get, because most of the hotel was on Rua property,
Mhm.
Galawatu, Odi,
Yeah,
Kadoku,
yeah.
Waihola, those
Yeah.
villages there.
Mhm.
So we didn't want to just come in and go, okay, we're buying the land, we're going to build it, and
Oh,
I don't care what you think. So we had to have the okay from all of the elders, like Rayanyani and the ex-kings of all of the major families over here. And finally, it took 3 years. Finally, they said, okay. They
Okay.
trusted us because we were not going anywhere. We were still here.
Okay.
I think maybe they were
So
thinking, oh yeah, they're going to
you
leave.
had 3 years
Yeah.
to make them sure to say yes.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. before that. If they said no, we said, okay, thank you, we're going to go somewhere else.
So it means that it's not easy to change the mindset, right, Bapak, ya, for the people?
Well, yeah.
Wow.
I think we were like space people, spacemen. They didn't understand us.
Yeah.
And I think
sure.
maybe they were waiting, these
imagine that.
boulets, they're going to leave. They're
Yeah,
not going to be able to last.
Yeah.
But we weren't going anywhere.
I can imagine that. That's right. Oh my God. So what is the highlight difference between Sumba 30 years ago and now?
Difference I see is maybe you got better pakaian.
Mm-hmm.
And the roads, the infrastructure on the island is, even in the last 6-7 years, is much better. So before we used to have problems, like on the Sumba Foundation, just to get to Palamoku, to deliver food for the kids, to go here and go there. It was difficult. In the rainy season, impossible. So the culture, my biggest worry back then was, okay, we're coming in here, we're going to bring something very new and very foreign, the hotel. I saw what happened in Bali with tourism, what happened with the culture. The culture in Bali is still strong, but the people changed very quickly. In like 7 years, it was already changing. And I was worried that we didn't want that to happen here. So better we go slow and not too fast, and we listen, and we, as much as possible, we include everybody, and we're going to have to train everybody, which means we had to teach English. We had an English teacher here for 7 years. I mean, all the original staff were just from the kampongs here walking in. And most could not read or write, so it was a challenge. But we did not want to bring people in from Bali, and exclude the local Sumba people and everything. So we just had to take our time, and it took a long time. Just the land alone, to get everybody together, to agree. It was 9.5 years. That's a long time. Most people would not have that patience. Yeah, they go.
Interested when you give opportunity for the people to learn. It's not easy, and it's not all the people can give them chance to work. Without English, they don't know how to write, how to read. But you believe that if you give them opportunity, they have time to learn with you.
Yeah.
That's why you inspire me. So why I give chance for the people, I believe for their ability, for their potential, just give them time.
Yeah.
And you did it, Papa. Thank you. So
yeah. Well, not just me. I mean, don't forget, there was two of us. As Petra was here.
Yeah, Ibu Petra.
So
Ibu Petra, beautiful mom.
Yeah, she was very, very important part of this. Without her, it would not happen. Would never have happened. Everybody always talks about, Bapak Claude, and for me, it's painful because it just means like you're agabodo to think it's only the man can do something. And automatically, why does everybody think it's the same everywhere in the world? And I come across this, not just here, but everywhere with Western people. They go, oh yeah, the woman was just there to support.
Yeah.
Well, it's not true, Here, I mean, Petra was we always had to agree on what we were going to do. We split up the work. I did the construction work. She did all of the business side, all of the education side, the English, teaching housekeeping, cooking for the staff, all of that stuff, and all of the design work. Sometimes we'd not agree, we argue for like 3-4 days until we agree, and usually I would be the one to say, oh yeah, okay, you're right, Petra, let's do it that way. And afterwards, it turned out to be the right move. So she was a very important part of this. And it hurts me when people just say, Bapak Claude, but there's Gina. Gina!
Gina is coming. Gina, come here. Hi, it's coming. So, teman-teman, ini ada Gina yang lahir di Sumba. Setelah ini kita akan tanya-tanya juga. Okay, and finally you found Sumba Foundation, right, Bapak? You founded Sumba Foundation.
Yeah, so even before we came to
story?
Sumba, part of our business plan was to have a foundation. Because at the time, most businesses were not doing no corporate responsibility or anything like that. So, but we didn't know, whether we were in Indonesia or we're going to be in Africa or we're going to be in the Philippines. what the foundation would be, but we very quickly realized that as we were living in those first few years in malaria and watching people die from tuberculosis and malaria, malnutrition, children dying, I started formulating, okay, this is what we're going to do with the foundation. The first thing is going to be water.
Water.
Next thing is going to be malaria. The next one is going to be, and everything, education was always in the back because the priorities were basic health. And we had our daughter here. She was this big, Gina at the time, and we were very worried, of course, you know, that she would get sick. There was no hospitals, so we had to have clinics because people could not go to the hospitals in Waikabubak.
Okay.
And then you had to walk there. So it was like, she was in our backpack as I'm doing construction work, and I'm just looking at the photos, you know, down on the beach, and local guys from Watakarere looking at this little girl like this big.
You still remember that, your little
I
friends?
remember my childhood here for sure.
Yeah. That's good. Okay.
So that's how the foundation. So the vision for the foundation was very early, already in 1995. I didn't know how to do it, so I was trying to set up the legalities of the foundation in Switzerland. We hired lawyers; they couldn't do it.
Okay.
But eventually, we got it done, you know, and got it open. Started with the first clinic in Hobowawi. Started putting clinics in, so nobody had to walk more than 3 kilometers between each way, either way. So we had Rua, Hobowawi. I had a clinic over in your village in Watakarere. We had another one in all the way down, and slowly we worked our way down there. And we started with water, of course, and then on the health side with malaria, and then started looking at helping the schools. That's when I realized how bad malnutrition was. So first we started fixing the government school. So one by one, I just started adding new projects, and the money came from the hotel guest, because we didn't have the money. By the time I started that, we were bankrupt, Petra and I, and we had to, you know, everything became stressful, really stressful. So I started asking for help from our hotel guests before we were open, friends, almost like begging, you know, but that got it started, and now you look at it, I mean, it's a small foundation, but very covering and helping a lot of people.
Big reach, big impact. For sure.
Yeah, sure, big reach. And everybody said that really helpful for the people here. Okay, Zina is here. Zina is here. Zina, so are you happy in Sumba?
Am I happy in Sumba?
Yeah.
I think this is my happiest place, really.
And
it's
a
very
little
magic
bit
here.
how you spend your childhood in Sumba and how it's feeling at the time.
Well, I think, you know, Sumba is very special to me because I did spend my first few years of life here, and even though I've been coming back and forth for a holiday since then, it's always had a really big impact on my life and the person that has that I've become. I just really remember being with, you know, Dad and Mom, and always being on the beach and being with the children and the chickens and the pigs in the villages and playing around and
Horse riding
always. And just the culture here has had a really big impact on my life, and I just feel very grateful and blessed to have been able to be a part of the whole of Mom and Dad's journey and everything that they've accomplished and been a part of. And it's always holds a very special place in my heart, and I have very just feel very blessed and grateful.
Any best experience that you remember?
Best experiences, I think just being here really, and just growing up here. Exploring around, always going and visiting the waterfalls, seeing the people in the villages, meeting new people. It was always a beautiful thing to be part of the hotel. You know, we'd meet so many different people coming in from all over the world, and watching how the island impacted them as well, and seeing these people continuing to come back and be a part of something. So I don't necessarily have any individual experiences that I really hold on to strong. Just the general gist of being here and growing up here has been a blessing.
And what do you think, Papa and your moms? They are
I'm
so special.
No, I'm so proud. I'm so proud of them. Really,
yeah, they built the house, and finally, you know, we still remember that even the Nihi Sumba is wonderful. What is that? The most beautiful hotel in the world. But behind that, there is your mom and dad.
Of course. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many beautiful destinations in the
Yeah,
world,
yeah,
that
yeah.
are gorgeous and
Mhm.
these amazing hotels. But this place is very special, and it's because mom and dad, are the backbone to it, and it's the people here, and it's the culture that brings the magic and essence to this place, which allows people to keep wanting to come back. There's an energy here that drives that force. But of course, at the same time, this could have never been created without their vision and their passion. So I'm forever proud of them. Yeah, it's a really, yeah, it's really, no, I really am. And for me, it's amazing because they've paved the path for myself and for my younger brother to be able to have been so lucky to grow up in such a magical place amongst magical people and culture and all of that. So I'm just, yeah, I couldn't be more proud of them and everything that they've achieved and accomplished. And yeah, it's really special.
Oh. So, Bapak, I can see how happy you are every time you with Gina and
yeah.
Brandon. Always, so I'm so happy with the children here.
Yeah.
And Gina, so do you have plans to spend more time with Bapak here in Sumba?
I hope so. I'm hoping to
continue Bapak mission
I
in
hope
Sumba,
so,
right?
yeah, definitely. I don't think there were many years where I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life and which direction I wanted to go, and slowly I'm kind of feeling, especially now being here during this global crisis and pandemic, it's been really an interesting time for everyone, I think, all over the world, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to have this time here and have this family time and be able to spend it with my dad and my brother. We've been many years apart, so to be able to have this time and to kind of just reconnect to my roots here has been really special so far, and I never want to leave. I don't ever want to go. I want to stay forever.
Oh my God!
So yeah, I'm gonna slowly see if how there's gonna be ways to hopefully have me spend more time out here, because it's not nice when I can only come for a couple of days, once a year. And now that I've been here longer, it's kind of, I've reconnected to the place and the soul that Sumba has. So I just want to make sure that I.
So do you have any plan to stay in Sumba for forever? Business,
I mean,
hotels, or
not
run?
for now.
like-
I'm just going with the flow and taking some downtime for myself. I've been working really hard in Bali for many years, and I just don't want to put too much pressure on anything. But what I can definitely say is I feel definitely with this time here that I've reconnected with this place, and my soul's kind of reconnected here, and I haven't had the opportunity to do that for a long time. So the more that I'm staying here, the less inclined I'm wanting to go like anywhere else and do anything else. So slowly I'll try to see what projects I can come up with. But for now, I'm just taking some time for myself and reconnecting.
But Sumba makes you happy.
Sumba makes me the happiest place in the world. I've really never been anywhere else in this planet that's made me feel the way that this place does. And every time I drive, as soon as I land off that plane, it's just, I get that same feeling every single time that I don't get anywhere else that I've ever been or experienced. I get even goosebumps just talking about it. So yeah, it's special
Do
here.
you still remember when we first met in Batu Karere?
Yes, of course,
Because I said,
yeah.
Why? How come Bule has a good heart like Sumbanese? It's not easy. Then when I met Bapak, Gina was born here. Okay, that's why. Because it's so easy to say, oh no, with the people, and too close, too easy.
Yeah.
It's not a bit, and how to understand with the local people so much.
Of course,
Bapak,
thank
back
you.
to Bapak. Bapak, do you still have big goals for Sumba to achieve in the future, maybe?
Well, yeah, I'd like to see tourism develop to the point where it creates not education, but jobs and prosperity, and how to do that without ruining or impacting or badly influencing the culture and the way of life here. I have another project we're starting down in Lailiang,
Yeah.
only because there's not enough work on Sumba right now.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah,
all
yeah.
about job creation right now.
Yeah, that's right.
Of course, the education thing now is becoming important because the future of Sumba, I believe, will be tourism. My biggest worry is mass tourism. So if something like Bali, if Sumba ends up like Bali in the next 20 years, I will kill myself because I feel responsible for being the first one to bring recognition to the island of Sumba.
Yeah,
So
sure.
to promote Nihiwatu, we had to promote Sumba as a destination. A very heavy responsibility to make sure this doesn't go wrong. But yeah, my vision is, and that's why we're doing all the English classes
English
now.
class,
It's become very important for me
Yes.
through the Sumba Foundation, so
Yeah.
that when the next hotels are ready, those developers don't have to bring people from Bali or Java or somewhere and push the Sumba people out. So I want the Sumbanese people to at least have the English skills so they could walk in and apply for a job and in English, even in broken English, it doesn't matter because for me, Petra and I didn't have that opportunity. Nobody could speak, so we had to imagine spending 7 years teaching your core staff English. Nobody's going to do that. No developer is going to do that because, like they say, time is money, and you're wasting time. You're wasting money. So they're going to bring in people from other islands, and that who's Rugi, who loses, the Sudanese people lose. You know, so I'm very concerned about that, and that's why, you know, I'm pushing this whole English thing. It is probably my most important project for me personally, and you know, and of course supporting you with English Goes to Kampung was a great thing. I have great respect for you, and I'm very proud of you because I do remember you when you were a tiny little girl and everything. And so that's what I'm working on now. You know, I don't have to worry about the hotel. There's other people running all of that, so I have the time to not work, which is nice. I can focus on other things. I work on the Sumba Foundation, but that's not really work for me. I'm a volunteer, just like all of the senior people over there, but I'm the guy that decides, all right, this is the next project for the next 2 years. Here's the 5-year vision, here's the 10-year vision. You guys do this, you do that, you do this. You have problems, come see me. Like Data that was just here. You know, I solve the problems on the boat. Whoa, that's not my phone.
It's okay.
Rodeo.
So I have a great life, Rose. I've got the best life. I'm so happy, you know, and I've got great kids. They're, you know, when you have children, you never know what's going to happen, whether they're going to be good or bad or successful or not. But I'm very proud of my kids. They're super cool. We have the best time.
Gina have your heart. Gina have your heart.
She interned for like what, 4 or 5 months on the Sumba Foundation before you went off to college. So
Proud of you. Bapak, there is one question that why you still enjoying Sumba? Why? And until when?
Well, I think Gina said
same.
This is my happy place too.
Okay.
You know, it's never boring. You know, if I get bored, all I have to do is go outside, go visit a kampung, talk to people there, see what their problems are. How can I help? Who's got kids in school? You need money? I'm not giving you money, but I can give scholarships. You know, for all of this, and we go out now and then. We're doing a big food aid distribution now because there's famine because of the lack of rain. So we go out, we see the people, and every time I go to the villages, it's just like boom. It's just like an injection of joy. You know, I just go, oh man, this place is still so nice because it hasn't changed.
That's the thing.
That's the thing, you
and
know.
see, you can still keep the traditional flower. This is meaningful, right? For the Sumba. Oke, Bapak, saya speaking bahasa. Teman-teman, jadi Bapak ini adalah salah satu orang yang sangat sulit mau diinterview. Saya sudah 2 tahun yang lalu, saya bilang cerita. Dia selalu bilang, Asti, no need to expose what I do. Itu menampar saya bahwa kamu tidak perlu, you don't need to expose what you do, the good things, and make you happy, and you follow your heart to help people, that's enough. Tapi menurut saya, I want to give, to share inspiration for other people and for Sumbanese. If Bapak from other country is not 100% from Sumbanese, right? Kita bisa lihat. Tetapi sangat 100% peduli tentang Sumba. Ya, dan gini teman-teman, I don't know, now is digital era Bapak, so I want to lose that in my life. I met the very, very inspirational people in my life. So I want to tell maybe I have children later, my children, and everybody can see. It's not about how to solve. Even you say, you have a lot of things to help Sumba, with Sumba Foundation, with Ibu Petra, with your children here, and you change mindset. The people is not easy.
I get
It's
embarrassed
kind
when
of-
when people say thank you a lot, thank you Claude for this and that. I get very embarrassed about it because the truth is, and when you can help somebody or help a lot of people or just even one person, you're helping yourself. You know, you're not just helping you or this one or that one. You help yourself. Your heart gets, you have that feeling if you're sincere about it. So I'm going to start crying
I'm going to
just
start
talking
crying
to myself.
too.
And that's why I do it. You know,
Papa
I don't need
menangis.
everybody,
Papa
Claude
menangis,
this and all of
guys."
this. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's it. It's very simple. You know.
Oh, kita speechless. Bapak dan anaknya menangis, teman-teman. Gitu istimewanya Sumba di mata Bapak. Oh. Saya tidak bisa omong.
The
Thank you,
interview's over.
For the first time when I met, we don't know who is. Honestly, I didn't know, and many people didn't know who is Chris Birch at the time. That's why everybody said, "Bapak Claude is coming," but everybody happy.
Yeah.
He's a legend. Bring impact and things, and see Sumba now is become, everybody can see and get job here, and me also, and our friends in Sumba Foundation, they go to job, you have staffs, you get money, they get payment, so they can raise their children. Thank you.
I just said you don't need to thank me.
Yeah. She's here like.
I want to say one thing about Chris Birch. You know, at the
Yeah.
time when when I first met Chris, I wasn't very sure, whether it's going to work out
Yeah.
or not. But I have to say, I mean, that there's another guy whose heart really is in the right
Good.
place.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
he's
he
an
is.
amazing
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
He is an instrumental part now of the Sumba Foundation,
Yeah.
what we're able to do. So, I
Mhm.
just want to make sure thanks goes to the right people also.
Okay, Bapak, I still remember when you say that Sumba, your rest place to be here. Is it true?
Yeah, I got my burial stone there.
Oh,
I'll be buried here. They know that. Gina
Yeah,
knows
we
what
know.
to do. Yeah.
so
And no
so-
buffalo. Don't be bringing buffalo and pigs. I don't need that. Just bring some
I
maca,
said, why
and
is
music on.
Yeah,
It's
we'll
gonna
have a
be
party.
a different.
no funny.
Celebration of life. Celebration of life.
Celebration
Of
of life.
course.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
You know why? Because first off, I love this place. This is my home. But in the West, because the families are always scattered everywhere. So like my parents, they're both buried in New Jersey, but I never go there. And if I went there now, I would not even know where they are. I'd have to ask my sister, okay, you take me to the cemetery, because I don't even know. So you have this disconnection. And one of the most beautiful things about Sumba is the connection with
Yeah.
all the ancestors. So you're living in your house, and there's your grandfather and your father in the stone right there. You know they're there. There must be some kind of a comfortable feeling about that, special feeling. I've watched the old people here when they're already like my age. What's the most important thing? The most important thing is to make sure everything's arranged in their life. Kids are okay, the grandkids are okay, and my burial stone has to be ready, right? I have to have the stone. It better be a big stone if I can afford it, just because that's what becomes important. Because when you know you die and you're going to be right there, there is some comfort in that.
Yeah.
I didn't understand it before, but I do now, because that's where I'm going to be
When
buried
Bapak, you
right here.
realized that you
I
you
realized that actually when I watched Jack Weru prepare for his death
everybody,
over in Wanakaka, and how important that was. I talked with him a lot about it, and his whole focus was on that. And and then I started understanding it, and I already was just flippantly talking about, oh yeah, I'm going to be buried in Sumba, but now it's really important to me to know where I'm going to be, to know that the kids know where I'm going to be, and everybody in my little community around here knows where I am, even if I'm not here anymore. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
so pretty cool, but please keep your health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please don't go anytime soon. We aren't ready
Yeah, it's
for
about
that.
time.
Oh, she's crying.
Yeah.
Oh you
Yeah, I
do a
know.
lot-
When I talk to Gina about it, she starts crying. pretty
Yeah, I get
quickly,
emotional.
Yeah, that's Sumba. Sometimes they prepare their stones first, and then, okay, I know, finally I will be there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a very special thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So any something that you want to leave with for Sumba and for next generation. I mean, you want to write, you write something autobiography or
I already did
story?
that.
Already?
I'm
So
ready.
yeah.
Oh yeah, the book's done.
Yeah, I-
451 pages.
Already done all
I
of.
wrote it for
Yeah.
my children.
I'm reading it now.
Oh, and when you
Yeah,
remember
so I
it.
finished it and printed it in when? In January, yeah. This
Yeah,
December.
Yeah.
December, and now of course I'm
Oh.
not happy with it, so I'm redoing it now. So I have time, but the kids are reading it.
May,
I only printed 21 copies
maybe.
for the people that helped me.
Mm-hmm.
Very private.
Private, yeah.
Yeah,
I
The
can
book
read.
is, I
Very
wrote it for my
personal, yeah.
children.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's-
yes.
I don't want to publish it so
Publish.
everybody knows about me
Yeah.
and my life,
Yeah.
but I wanted my children to know that life wasn't that easy, but it was a
Mm.
lot of fun.
Yeah.
And maybe I can inspire them with some of the stories where I
Sure.
made mistakes, but you
Sure.
still come out okay.
Sure.
You know, and I just wanted them to know what my life was like. Here in Sumba, it's different because everybody knows,
Mm-hmm.
because you still have a very tight, close-knit community.
Mm-hmm.
But in the West, we don't have that anymore. People are scattered.
Mm-hmm.
The children are here, they're there.
Mm-hmm.
I regret, I did the same. When I was 18, I left the house,
Mm-hmm.
and I never really spoke with my parents about what their life was like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just heard little bits. I knew, well, it was Second World War, and I knew something, but I never really got to sit down and say, hey, what were you doing when you were 10 years old? And what were you doing when you were 15 years old?
Yeah.
And these sort of things. And then my parents died young. I was away, so I never had the chance to have that conversation. So my kids would, know.
No, yeah, sure.
And it's such
Everything
a special
about
gift,
me.
Yeah, to be able to have that
Mm-hmm.
for the rest of our lives, and be able to share that with our children one day as
Yeah.
well, for them to understand
sure.
who their
Yeah.
grandfather was, and for that to go down the line. And
Mm.
he's lived an amazing life. Not
Mhm.
many people can say they've lived even 1/10 of what my father has done and
Mhm.
accomplished, and
Sure.
everything that he's been through, through it all, and to be able to have that and to hold that close and be able to have been gifted that by you is really special.
Mm.
Yeah, and it was
Yeah.
fun. I got to
Yeah.
relive my life on.
Yeah.
And I hope Gina
Yeah.
and Braden can continue the story from Bapak.
Yeah, we'll see.
Still.
Feeling it will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not. I just want my kids to be happy. Find what makes them happy, and it doesn't have to be what I think.
With the situations and to welcoming the globalization in the future, how and what we must to prepare from now. Yeah.
I think now education is probably the key thing. Before it wasn't as important because health was that bad here,
Okay.
but now education, the future is going to, and the future here is definitely tourism. It's also, if you can't afford to go to school, there's always something you can learn.
Something you can learn.
You can learn to be a carpenter. You can learn to be a stonemason or an
Yeah.
electrician, because all of those trades
Yeah.
and those skills are going to be required for these next generations of hotels that come here. Some
Mhm.
things, because right now, even if anything I'm building here, Salain Harian,
Mhm.
I have to bring in people from Java. I don't, but when I bring them in, I got, they're the electricians, they're the finishing workers,
Yeah.
the carpenters, and the plumbers.
Mm-hmm.
But I always put one Sumba guy, maybe two. Okay, you're from Java, you're the carpenter, here's two guys. You got to teach them
Mm-hmm.
how to do this.
Okay.
And there's already now, there's small little contracting groups,
Mhm.
local guys that used to work for me on the building of Nihiwatu and
Yeah.
Haweri,
Mm-hmm.
that now have their own contracting business.
Sure.
And they're doing okay. Still
Yeah.
not expert work,
Yeah.
but good enough to have income,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
to support their family and get their children in
Yeah.
school. So
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of that now. And I think education now really is probably the key,
Yeah.
most
Yeah.
important thing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have to say Indonesia's track record on education is pretty
Very
bad.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
That's right.
teachers are not getting paid.
Mm.
There's teachers in Bali Loku 5 months now. They haven't paid, so they
Yeah,
can't.
yeah,
And it really is.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I think the government needs to invest more money on the future
Mm.
generations, which
Yeah.
is education.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
so for me, I mean, that's
Education is
That's
very
it, yeah.
important.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I have to say, you know, you're talking about inspiring people. I'm totally inspired by you. Your story, what you've done, I think is absolutely amazing. And any way I can help you, you know, I'm a phone call away. Always.
You're
Yeah.
always behind me, Bapak.
She's the best.
Yeah.
The best.
Special woman you
Yeah.
are. Yeah. You should be very proud of yourself.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Gina. Thank you. Same with Bapak. Just follow my heart. To
Yeah.
help what
Yeah.
Of course.
I able to.
Yeah.
With a small thing, it's really
Yeah.
important. But I have one purpose that one day Sumba is gonna be better. And
It will be.
as you start before, yeah, about 30 years ago, and now you can see when Ibu
Well, yeah.
Petra
See the
teach
impact and
kids
see what, the
progress is come.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Okay, Bapak, thank you so much.
Okay, Rose.
Gina.
Thank you.
Bapak sehat selalu,
Ya,
keep your
terima kasih.
health,
Ya,
bahagia.
sama-sama, ya. Thank you.
Dan intinya Bapak sehat dan
Hey, saya sehat
please,
sekali. Ya.
sehat sekali.
Sehat, kuat.
Iya,
It's good.
kuat.
Ya.
Iya, kurangi ini apa namanya? What is that? Ski. Ya,
Yes.
let's ski.
No.
No, because
No.
Bapak
Saya
keras kepala
tidak
kalau soal itu.
kurang is not my vocabulary. Tambah. Tambah. I want more. Yeah.
Tidak mau, guys. Padahal kaki ini pernah hancur, babak belur.
Hi everyone, please don't forget to subscribe to all of Roswita's channels. We've got, which ones do we have? YouTube?
YouTube.
Subscribe.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.